Welcome to another Sanaa interview. This is our first online interview of 2023. I am super excited to be here and I am interested in seeing how this conversation is about to go. And we shall be talking about Lose Which ni ngoma mpya ya Rumbi, a collaboration kati yake na Iyanah and BasicCity. We shall wait for Rumbi to join us for this session, then talk about the track and how it came about, tupate some insights regarding the song itself and other aspects of the song and other aspects of whatever conversation we shall be having this evening. Shukran sana for being here, Austin. And the person we are waiting for is with us. Thank you for being here, Rumbi. Let me finish typing this comment, then we can start our conversation, Rumbi. Yes. Now you're set. Conversation was supposed to happen yesterday evening, but that was not possible. But here we are today, less than 24 hours later, we are here.
Duman,
Rumbi,
what's up? I just remembered I have a ring light and I regret not carrying it, but we push.
what are you using?
I am using a light, a house light.
The one chance you get to use your ring light, you're not using it.
You know, I have to make sure there's a second time. I have to make sure there's a second.
I will be glad to do this again with you and have more conversations. Thank you so much for joining our first online interview of 2023. So you've opened up this. I hope there will be more, even if it's with you some other time for more tracks and even with other artists as well. So you can let us know how you're doing today, and you can also introduce yourself to whoever is watching or listening that might not know who Rumbi is.
Okay, cool. First of all, I'm very glad to be here. I was super excited for the live. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we are here now. I am Rumbi. I'm a songwriter and producer. I'm also an artist curator and artist manager. I'm doing great today. We had a good day. It was busy. We finished mixing a song, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you even before we get into the track a few things, and one of those would be or is, what has been your highlight of the day today?
Oh, highlight of the day today. There were, I mean, it's not music related, but there were some documents that needed to be processed, and they got done really quickly. So that is because I really don't like waiting. I'm not patient. I hate lines.
Mm.
So it was very quick, done and done.
I wonder how you survived the many queues that happen in this country of ours.
Man, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. If you see me in a line,
Yeah. And then the other fun questions I wanted to ask before we get started. Who is your favorite guitarist of all time?
Ooh, damn. Well, I would say locally in the city, uh, there is, I can't remember that guy's name. The guy called Neo. He is an amazing guitarist. He's a jazz guitarist, and he plays everything that I would like to play. Uh, Internationally, I guess off the top of my head, Tom Misch. I'm a big fan of what he does.
Kinuthia Iyanah says must be me.
He knows, and he says it with his chest. Shout out to the home. Thank you for coming through.
Uh, so you'd say Tomish is your favorite of all time?
Uh, if you put like, because I feel I've never been asked this, or I've not been asked in a long time. Anyone who I
Mm.
can try to remember, because there was this really cool guy in the 70s and 60s. I actually sampled him. And the chord voicings he uses and what he plays is just next level. But I can't remember his name.
Okay, favorite producer of all time.
Damn. Favorite producer of all time. Uh, I feel like Pete Rock, because he's
Mm,
mental, like he's really proper. I am trying to explore, I guess, producer journeys from people outside of hip hop, because I feel like hip hop is the only place where we really look into the
yes.
music producer. You know what I mean? So it would be biased towards that. But I'm a big fan of what Tyler does, like uh, his his sound, the keys and synthesizers he uses. I'd love to be able to do that. So I'm a big fan of
For some reason, I had a feeling you'd say a hip hop producer.
that. It's in the drums, man.
Who is your current favorite Kenyan artist?
Oh, current favorite. It would probably be, I guess, the duo Killy Hippie and Boy Black.
Mm,
I've been bumping some unreleased work, yo, the benefits of being friends with artists. So, and also just about stuff they've put out. I don't know. It's really, I like what they do with songs. It's like, it's really dope song writing and storytelling in hip hop, and I don't hear it in a lot of other artists.
Kid Hippie has been so busy this past year. He's been releasing beat tapes after beat. Yo,
And
it's
people
been
are
so wild to
sleeping.
watch.
People are sleeping on the tapes, yo.
Yes,
Uh,
I know that. I don't know if people are listening to them or even are aware that they exist, but I've been listening to them a lot.
oh no, no. He's mad talented. He's mad talented.
And what about SA? Your current favorite from there?
My current fave, it would probably be Fila Lala. I really love what she does with her songwriting, her melodies, and the way she approaches stuff. And she does a lot of piano stuff. So I'd love to hear like on some guitar stuff. So when I listen to her, I kind of imagine like, oh, what would you sound on this or this type of stuff.
So for watchers of and our viewers and listeners of Sanaa kwa Sana, Rumbi is not in the country. That's why I had to ask about SA
Yeah,
in
yeah,
case you're wondering about that. So you can get into Lose, which is your new track
yeah.
with Iyanah and BasicCity, and no, your cause record says Lose is a fire single. Props to Rumbi. As we delve into the track, I would love for you to share the story. I read a short anecdote about BasicCity, and kindly share with us the chemistry and the spur of the moment formation and history of BasicCity
Oh,
with
okay.
us.
So Basic City is, I guess, it's a pretty cool story because it is about. It's only a year, maybe slightly older than a year now. Um, I met with a homie called Malcolm, Basic with two C's, at a pad drive. We went for a mutual friend's pad drive, and we kind of listened to music, bumped some stuff. We met 2 months later. We had like two studio sessions, and we decided we're gonna start Basic City. So he is Basic, I'm the hippie in your city, and that came together to form Basic City. And we've quickly formed a band, and we started working with, because I'd been working with a lot of artists for a while. So like one of the first people we reached out to was like Iyanah. We actually have a few other tracks with her as Basic City that are just kind of in the vault. But yeah, it felt like the best way to start the year. Really, it was because we recorded this in 2021. I think okay around early no we recorded it last year. Damn, but it's here now.
And I was curious about the city and you wearing another moniker. How did that come about? And what are the differences between
The,
city and Rumbi and these different sort of names and personalities and artists, if you may?
I think one of them is this. And I guess this is the boring part of it. This is the not artistic part of it. Is that I'm very organized, or I try to be very organized. And I have a lot of music coming out. So I was like, how best can I separate what I'm doing while still keeping it consistent? And I think slowly as I've grown in my career, because I don't know, it's very easy to come up with names. It's always been like a fun thing I do. So I'll be like, ooh, M. Rumbi, the Hip in Your City, the Nairobi Nomad, the Serengeti Samurai. And I kind of felt that they eventually started leaning into their own thing. So the hip in your city just made sense with BasicCity, and then I was like, boom, okay, this is gonna be me rapping. If you hear me rapping on a beat, even if it's just me, that's BasicCity, because city is BasicCity, basic is BasicCity. If you hear anything I produced it as the Nairobi Nomad, and if it's anything I have written or played guitar, that is now M. Rumbi.
And were you referring to any particular city?
Would I be? Yes, I think it would have to be Nairobi because that's been my biggest musical influence. I mean, that's kind of where everything started for me.
And I kind of have a feeling that that goes back to what we've just talked about when it comes to producers and you mentioning Pete Rock and Tyler.
Mm,
The idea of having other personalities within
mm,
oneself and other monikers that you come up with. I feel as if that comes from hip hop as well. Am I
yeah, yeah.
accurate?
It is. It's definitely explored in hip hop, but I think mine is was definitely helped by I don't know. There's this artist called Jordan Rakai, New Zealand artist based in the UK, and he has like a whole electro person like alter ego, and he makes like soul music. And I was like, oh, he's doing it like mad smooth. He's not even trying to make an like a persona. He's just like, I release this music under this persona, under this name, and I release this music under my name. And I was like, cool, okay, that's straightforward. Let me do it.
So seeing that you've mentioned you have other projects in the pipelines with Iyanah and you've also worked with her before
Mm.
on Savior and AMs, how did this musical relationship come about?
Shout out to Iyanah. She is first of all doing it for all the artists. She slid into my DMs, man. She shot her shot. She was like, I like your work, and I'd really like to work on something. And I was genuinely impressed because I've been told I don't look like the most approachable person. You know what I mean? I don't look like the friendliest person. And we tried out a few songs, and she has a really dope work ethic. I like the way she works. I like the way she thinks. And if you can make it fun, if you can make it easy, I mean, the more songs, the better.
Mm. So will this be a full-length project or an EP or just a few songs and then we'll see how that goes?
Well, this year I kind of gave myself, I don't want to call it a challenge. It was kind of like let's call it a challenge. I wanted to release a song every 2 weeks. So basically, I have a set of EPs and singles that I'm going to release. It's 26 songs in total from the beginning of this year up until the end of this year. So this is just one of the singles in that, I guess, a year-long project.
So I would love to read the definition and the description rather of the track and then ask some more questions. So Lose is a catchy and energetic hip hop track with heavy hitting 808s, smooth pianos and synths, and a thumping bass line. Singer-songwriter and long-term collaborator Iyanah links up with producer M. Rumbi and creative duo BasicCity for a beautiful song that will hook you right away. I am not certain if people pay that much of attention to artwork, but I wanted to ask how important, how relevant, how connected is the song's artwork to what the song is?
Mm, for this one, because it does matter to an extent to me, it doesn't mean too much in terms of what you see, but I've felt like sonically it connected uh, with what was like with what you see on the cover art. Because you kind it kind of it's very abstract, so you do feel lost, but you do see a space, and it is a song where people are speaking on themselves. So yeah, but it's nothing too deep.
Mhm. So as you take us even through the track further and tell us maybe your state of mind as you are working on the song, why did you feel you should release Lose as your first track of 2023?
It is so. I'm kind of doing two things with my music is where I'm revisiting old projects because I feel like I am better at mixing and mastering and just kind of remixing them or re-releasing them. And I was going through the archives and I stumbled upon Lose and I was like, this is such a dope track. Um, and it kind of hit me more than anything else. So it made sense. It was ready. It was just waiting to go out, and it made sense for the first song to be the song that is most most ready, most complete to go.
And I can definitely see what you said about the artwork, how the song feels and the sonic choices, and then looking at how the artwork could be ethereal and sort of interstellar as you're listening
Yeah.
to it. I was really interested about the production because you have a drum loop, you have a guitar loop, a vocal loop going on, and we've talked about drums and hip hop, and you have a number of beat switches within the
Yeah,
track.
yeah.
What was the creative process from a production standpoint for you? And do you remember when you made the track?
I think it was made in May, if I'm not wrong. The project folder says 21st May, if I'm not wrong, 2021. It all started from a tweet. I think I saw someone say that J. Cole kind of flipped one of his tracks and then he made a new track from that. And I was like, damn, that's dope. I want to do that. So I took a song I made called Wonder that I released with Nawekulo, amazing singer-songwriter. And I kind of chopped it up, and I made this. And I kind of have this thing of where, like, if you're making a beat, you shouldn't force it. The sonics will speak to the direction it's going in, you know what I mean? I think we have a bad habit of, if you're a hip hop head as a producer, you feel like you got to put those hip hop drums on. It has. So I think this song, I wanted to be more neo soul, and it ended up being more alternative hip hop, but it spoke, it kind of wanted to lean in that direction sonically. And we revisited it in November because we kind of Iyanah laid her verse, she laid the hook, and then we kind of got bogged down with work, so we put it away. Came back. Shout out to Basicc. He helped with the arrangement. We rearranged the track. We put in the chops. We added some instruments, and we kind of just brought the whole thing to life.
And please do check out, if you haven't, check out Nawekulo. Also check out Iyanah as well. They have material online that you can find. Check both acts out. And that you've mentioned that when you work with people back home, how do the processes usually go for you?
Um, I am lucky enough to have made connections before I left.
Yeah.
So I have a few, like I guess 3, 4 producers who usually handle my sessions for me. So for example, if you see a song coming out in January, we probably started the recording process in May because I met the artist in May. We have the song in June, and then now June to September is just trying to lock down studio time. Maybe you have to go back, redo some harmonies, add some fills. But yeah, shout out to, again, it's really cool because it's local indie artists like myself who are helping me, you know, your Killy Hippies, Finoche, The Wrath of Sponge. Yeah, just good people.
And then you've mentioned indie hip hop and the kind of sonic scape for the song alternative hip hop.
Mm.
Compare and contrast for us the two scenes, the alternative or the indie hip hop scene in Kenya and the alternative and indie hip hop scene in SA.
Uh, I think the indie, at least in Kenya, would probably be a reflection of also the larger scene. I think it's a lot more, I'd say diverse, but also inclusive. Maybe things have changed, but from where I see it, all of the music in Kenya just kind of feeds into one another. People are always open to collaborating and doing different sounds. While and it also for some reason, it feels a lot closer to, I wouldn't say mainstream hip hop, but or let me say it'd be closer to mainstream hip hop across the world. While in South Africa, your indie hip hop is really underground. Like you really feel like you're pushing your own thing. You're making your own path through this, like yeah, this jungle.
So do you think it's not necessarily easier?
Hmm.
What do you think about the reception in both scenes? So that essay you've said is more underground and you feel as if you're pushing
Hmm.
harder. Then you've said here it's closer to to the general sort of feel
Yeah.
internationally than where you are at the moment. Do you think the reception is easier where you are or back home?
Now that's a wild thing. In general, it seems that most of my music is listened to by, and shout out to that, yo, from back home. That's
Mhm.
where I get like most of my plays. That's where I get most of my listens. South Africa would probably be like top 5, but not top 3. So I am not sure. I think it might be a Sonics thing. It might be an enunciation thing. It might be a simple view of how people view hip hop here. But it's definitely, I gain more, I guess, listeners and acceptance back home than I do here.
Mm. I love that you've mentioned the idea of enunciation, because we have discussed the idea of language a lot
Mm,
on this platform, whether it is on our blog or just on our conversations, in our conversations regarding language and expression. And I would love to hear your perspective on the same.
mm,
So the way you're creating music at the moment, and when you're rapping, when the hippie in the city
mm.
is rapping, are you thinking about your language choices consciously? And what was that like for you when you were here and doing music here? And did it in any way hinder the audiences that you reached, or what was that like?
Mm. Well, I'll start with back home because I do think like my solo music journey was a bit shorter there. I was writing more in Swahili, but I really feel like I was being influenced very much by. Um, I don't know if you. It might be a while back. Okay, it is a while back. In 2015, I think 2017, there was a very like the acoustic scene was always popping. So everyone had a guitarist. People still didn't have drums and basses, so it was a very like guitar heavy scene. So I was kind of moving with that. I was making music around guitar. When I moved here now, I had to start incorporating uh, other things. I Man, I lost my train of thought. What was the question again? I got into it. Language.
The language aspect.
But it's okay, yeah. So it's interesting here. When I do it in Swahili, it's seen as more exotic. So if I am going for a more mainstream song, I'll throw in a few Swahili lines because it's always like, oh, okay, it sounds different, but it sounds familiar. But because I do my first language is English. I learned Swahili next like afterwards. Um, I do have to monitor myself because sometimes I'll use phrases that are like, okay, but no one knows this, man. It's a punchline, but it's a punchline just for myself, type of thing. So it plays a big
Mm.
role in writing, at least. You have to be conscious of it, especially because music is to a certain extent about being understood. So if I use words that people don't get or phrases that people don't connect with, then people are just like, oh, it sounds nice.
So whenever you say that and tell that to yourself inside your mind, are you thinking of your SA audience, or are you thinking of your Kenyan audience?
I think maybe to a certain extent, I feel like with my Kenyan audience, they are I'm at a place where they appreciate the sound and everything that comes with it, so they're open to what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like they'll be like, "Oh, this is dope. You're experimenting with this. You're experimenting with this." While with SA, I feel like I still haven't hit the mark. So with them, I think it's more of like I'm trying to find the fan base here. You know what I mean? Like there are some. I don't want to take it away from it. There's some really dope platforms here that are pushing, local artists like myself, and they are helping build a fan base. But I'm just saying on a personal level, at least it's not the same as back home.
And what would you say are your thoughts on the general music scene there and here, outside of indie and alternative hip hop and alternative scenes?
I mean, it's crazy in general because like Afrobeat is really like it's taking over the world. It's wild. Um, and it's like just in the idea of Afrobeat, just seeing how it has changed in terms of sound and sonics in different countries and regions. Um, it is it's interesting to see the differences. Back home, people hold events, like really big, like not let me not say big events, but events across scale. While with here, the economy is a bit wider. So, for example, for a while before I started the band, I would play at bars with my sister. Literally, there's a mic, there's a guitar, and we get paid to do that. Um, it's I, Someone said that after COVID, music people like we kind of got a allowance as musicians to make more, listen wider, because I think people were consuming more music. But I don't feel like that is as accepted in countries like South Africa, where mainstream appeal and consumer economies kind of drive how people listen to stuff.
Mm. And what do you think about our consumer culture when it comes to music? And you've mentioned even prior that most of your listeners are still back home. And how has that been for you during the time you were here and now that you're away?
Um, it's it's interesting because I'm not on the ground and I don't perform. It's kind of hard to connect with the audience and understand how they view me or what they where they see me as. Like I've not been home since I left. Um, it it's an interesting thing where I'm not sure if people connect with me fully based on like the fact that my music is, I hope, to them good and enjoyable, or because um, I am outside of the country and I'm achieving things in what I do. So there's a certain, I don't want to call it, let's say loyalty, you know? You see someone you connect with to a certain extent doing something you like winning, and that means more because they're not around. So, because I do
Yes.
feel like our culture, our consumer culture back home is based on not just how we view you, but how the world views you. You know what I mean? I think that's why alternative R&B is doing so well. Alternative R&B is doing kind of well around the world, and you have like some really cool artists in the country, but we don't just like them here. Like they're getting featured on playlists around the world, they're getting gigs around the world, and that kind of affirms how they're they're how good they are to us.
And now that we're talking about reception, you released the track on Friday, the 13th.
Because we don't care.
Friday the 13th.
That's how you start
What
it.
has been the
First release of the
what has
year.
been the reception? What has been the reception uh, of the song within these first few days?
It's been really positive, like overwhelmingly so. It's always nice to hear people growing with you, especially because I do my own mixing and mastering. So sometimes like I'll be like I let down a song because I couldn't make it sound as good as it needed to. But with this one, people just kind of just vibed with it from the beginning with the rollout and the lyric video. It's been like, yeah, overwhelmingly positive. So for everyone who has listened to the track, thank you very much. For everyone who sent a message or like posted on the IG stories, it really means a lot. It goes a long way.
Because I can even see Austin here saying lose is equal to vibes.
Yo, he's not
So
lying. He's not lying.
in the comment section. And now that you've mentioned that, and then you talked about not being on the ground and looking at reception and feedback and how people are listening to the music,
Mm.
and you're mastering, you're producing, you're also marketing. How do you maneuver all of these facets of your music?
I would. So I think my talent is admin, and I just happen to be musical because I am like it. I feel the need to be organized. You know what I mean? And actually, to any artist who's doing this, like it helps to kind of have a system. And the only way you can have a system if you're making your own, like I did, is you start from the ground up and you are willing to mess up. Um, I think I emailed you in December, right? About
Yes.
the so you heard the track probably a month or maybe 3 weeks before it came out. Uh, I try to apply industry standards towards all of my releases. You know what I mean? And it's important to have a calendar, to have a team. You really need a team, and you can't do it by yourself, even if it's one or two people. And you need to remember that you need to treat it like a job. If you want it to make money for you like a job, then you need to treat it like a job, or it'll always give you money the way a hobby gives you money.
Because I noted that even with our recent communication, and whenever you are sending your music and
Mm,
sharing your stuff with people, you do it in a very detailed manner, and one can easily notice how meticulous you are
mm.
with giving descriptions and ensuring your bio is there, your EPK is there, the links are there. You do it in such a meticulous manner, and I was curious about the same, and you mentioned industry standards, and you're adhering to the same. So, and you mentioned this earlier about what you're planning to do for the rest of the year. So I will read something and then get deeper into the same. You said Lose is the first track, the
Mhm.
first of 27 tracks that you intend to release every 2 weeks over this year, 2023, in keeping with your personal philosophy of community over competition. And you've done a lot of collaborations with people.
Mhm.
The songs will feature artists and styles from around the world. Please share more on this philosophy,
Uh,
community over competition, and
I
why
would
why
love.
these many tracks. And you mentioned earlier, you hinted upon just going through your vault and seeing that you have a lot,
Mm,
so you can touch on that and tell us more about the philosophy.
most definitely, most definitely. And just before I do that, I just wanted to add. when when we're doing these emails, it's out of also respect for your side of the entertainment industry. If I send you something sloppy, if I send you something that is not appealing to it's disrespectful to you. You take your time to read the email, to listen to the track. The least I can do is give you something presentable, and that is again industry standard because you are the industry.
Am I?
You are, yeah, man. We are the industry, man. We are the industry.
But yes, please, if you're watching this and you're an artist, Rumbi has said it. Do not send sloppy emails. Do not.
Yeah. Yes, Sanaa kwa Sanaa is the industry. But with community over competition, I think it's something I've been doing for a very long time. It just kind of made sense. The entertainment industry is wild. I can't speak on maybe the whole of it, but in music, you kind of see the worst of people and the best of people. I have seen, the artists you see in movies who's like, I'm gonna step on people to kind of get to the top, and it's like that's wild because yes, you might make it, but it seems kind of lonely. You kind of understand. Oh, that's why you feel a type of way, and because I have been put in a situation where I've been forced to learn about the industry, um, I realize there's a lot of space for everyone. I think because we only see stars on TV, we feel like the only thing we can be or that we need to be is a star. You could be an alternative artist for like majority of your life, but because you're an amazing songwriter, you're working with like pop musicians who are making a ton of money, and you're getting your 30% of that because you wrote a verse for that type of track. Um, it it just makes sense to work with people. Society is built by working with people, and it always seems to you learn so many new things when you work with people. So for me, it's like learning, and it's fun.
So from what other areas and parts of this world will the artists you've worked with have come from?
Ooh, okay, this is dope. So my next song is called Outplayed. It's coming out on the 27th of January, so that's 2 weeks from now. Link in my bio to pre-save, and that is with the amazing Athena. She is from the Philippines. In March, I have a song coming out with a wonderful lady called Nai from Indonesia. And then I have a few other tracks coming out later in the year with some ladies from the States, some from Russia. Russia has amazing vocalists. Oh my God, like I've just been running into like a lot of like amazing vocalists from Russia. And I think France, a few other places in Africa, I think Nigeria, hopefully, fingers crossed. Kenya, I feel like Kenya is on the list. I don't have to say it, but if I just to add in case someone feels like I didn't mention it. And I think South Africa, Lesotho.
So are there 26 other tracks that are still to be released done, or some of those you will work on during the year?
So I am a bit eclectic, so sometimes tracks do change, but everything up until I think half from when till June is, if not already recorded, is being recorded in the next month, and I think half of those already are mixed and mastered. They're actually just waiting in the stores for release date.
That is very organized. Such the admin that you said.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I was lucky enough to get a distribution deal with Paradise Worldwide, Paradise Africa. So I feel like it's a great opportunity to push my music to bigger and further places. And I was like, the least I can do is like, again, get my shit together. Also, apparently Russ released a song every week, every Friday for like a whole year. I was like, I think I can do that, but maybe not every week, every 2 weeks. So that also kind of inspired
Yeah.
the quick shout out to Lensfro. She is doing a music visualizer for one of the tracks that is dropping in February. So that's something to look forward to.
Big up to Lance Pro.
Yeah.
Another artist I know who did the same is an artist called Crooked Eye or King Crooked. I don't know if you know about Slaughterhouse,
Mm,
but in 2000 and I think it was in 2007, and then he did that again maybe in 2014, 15 or somewhere there.
yeah.
He used to also release track every Friday, and he did that under the title Hip Hop Weekly, Hip Hop Weeklies. So he did
Uh-huh.
that, and I think by the end of 2007, it put him on the Double XL cover, and then a
Mm-mm.
few years later, he did the same thing. So a track a week. And I'm glad you've mentioned the distribution deal. Tell us kindly, if you will, some details about what that entails so that someone could also understand what a distribution deal
I
is all
mean,
about.
there's two. So the long story, which I want to tell you, is what I've been doing music for a while now, and I think what happened is I reached a place where, to a certain extent, my sound and at least my admin is industry level. And Paradise Distribution handles. I don't know. There's this really dope alternative R&B artist from SA called Marcus Harvey. He's beautiful stuff, really. So they push for quite a few artists based in South Africa and I guess Berlin, San Francisco, a few other places. And they just felt like my sound was what they were looking for. So they wanted to offer me a distribution deal. They want to push my music. And yeah, it's officially kicking off from the beginning of this year. I feel like I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but it's it's kind of affirming, you know what I mean? Because it's like indie artists you're pushing, and to any indie artist, being indie doesn't mean you're fighting the industry. It just means you are in the industry as an independent proprietor. You're a business by yourself. You need to understand that businesses work together. So you're going to work with established names and institutions. So for me, it was like, oh, these guys work with these dope artists with this good sound, because you have to do your research, right? There's this really dope songwriter and singer-songwriter they have, neo soul alternative R&B, and I was like, okay, you guys have faith in these artists, and these artists sound good. I feel like I'm kind of around here, and I was like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, the short story is we're signing deals now.
Yeah. So when you brag about this in a rap, it'll be reality.
Man, like I wanted to make it happen before I could start bragging. Now I can say I got a deal. What you say? Hey, what have you got to lose? I've got a deal to lose. Hey,
You have a deal to you have a deal to lose. How long does the deal run for?
uh, I don't know how long I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's a
Okay.
short one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All the best, regardless of how
Thank you.
long the
Thank you.
deal is supposed to run for. Great to hear that, and you've shared about the deal itself. As we are concluding our amazing conversation, do you have anything else to add regarding Lose, or what we should be looking forward to for the rest of the year?
Uh, with the lose, I think the biggest thing for me would be for people to enjoy it and take whatever they want to take home from it. We are gonna do like a 3 video series where each one of the artists on the song will kind of I think I'll put it up on my IG to just ask questions. But yeah, just find out what you'd want to know about the song, what part you vibe with, the lyric you'd want to be broken down. Um, in terms of future stuff, every second Friday of the month there will be a new song. I'm holding myself to that. Every song until I think April, May is like there. We're just finishing the last few, and I'm going to be experimenting with sound. So I'm gonna be doing Afrobeat. I'm gonna be doing neo soul. I'll be doing some contemporary work, and I think everything will still be me, because I feel like one of the, I guess, tags for my music would be soulful, and everything has soul. So we're gonna post a few snippets soon. Please follow the artists who are on the track. And if you have any questions about music, about the industry, if you'd want to just maybe share something, feel free to DM me. Again, when I say community over competition, it doesn't apply to my friends. It's literally the community.
Mm. And I've also remembered another artist who spearheaded and did such a thing where they were releasing tracks consistently. I
Hmm.
think it was started by Tetushani, if I'm not
Oh
mistaken,
yeah.
possibly towards the end of 2019. I think they did one song a month
Mm.
or some. Tetu did the same, and part of the people who participated included, I remember Riga was also part of it, and I also remember Sage, I believe, did the same thing.
And it was
So
some
that
really
kind of,
beautiful music that came out, and they use a lot of live instrumentation, so they're pushing themselves with the recording.
yes, definitely, definitely. And I've just thought about something regarding the 26 tracks now that are remaining for the rest of the year. Do you Are you thinking about attention span? And as far as people remembering that you released a song and they went back to the songs as much as maybe you'd like them to, and then by the end of the year they'll be able to say they had this amount of songs consistently and returned to them? Or are you thinking, or are you not thinking about this
Mm.
as you're releasing the tracks?
I think I look at it, or I see each release as its own entity unless it's coming out as a project. Because my sound is so, well, let me not say so, but I do believe my sound is a bit wide. It is a bit diverse. It does allow me to release a bit more often because things will sound different. Not everything will sound the same, the same, the same. Um, the reality is people's attention span is a lot shorter. I think I am lucky in terms of that. I can I can make music a bit faster than I think a lot of people, or I have time and access to resources that lets me do that, and I don't see myself not taking advantage of that. So, for example, the 26 songs were all written in a period of, except for the older ones, between August and November this last year. You know what I mean? And that doesn't include maybe another 20 or 40 that are still in the archives. That isn't per se stressful for me. It's just I mean I love doing it. There's nothing as beautiful as touching on an emotion and then putting it down on paper, and the because you hear the music as you make it, the melodies they move something inside of you. So yeah, it's just me working the way I work.
Those are a lot of tracks. A lot of tracks.
I
It'll
hope
be a
guys
short
enjoy
time
it.
span. And so finally, I had an interview on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was doing my session yesterday, I said I wanted us to have the conversation that we are having now yesterday, because on Saturday I had an interview, and during the conversation with the person I was talking to and conversing with,
Mm-hmm.
they said they worked with an artist while they were working on their debut project, their debut
Mm-hmm.
EP, and they did not know the ropes of what the process looks like, what the process entails as you're creating your first project, going through these different steps and the process itself. And they said one person who was in their corner and held them down is the person I'm speaking to at the moment.
Oh damn, damn, who's that, man? That was nice.
And And then I told the person, incidentally, so
Mm-hmm.
it was Saturday, and incidentally, tomorrow I have an interview with Rumbi.
Wow, what are
It
the
was really
odds?
it was really serendipitous, and the person I'm talking about, would you I don't know if I could give you hints and then you would guess. So they are a female vocalist.
Mm. Okay.
Yes, definitely indie,
Is
soulful
it
as
so?
well.
Okay, soulful. Is she in the country?
Mm, y- yes.
Have
I
I
feel like
worked with her before?
if I give you the genre, it will be very easy for you.
Okay, have I worked with her before?
No, you don't have a record together.
Okay, we need to fix that girl. Goddamn. Uh, hmm. Oh man, I feel
Mm,
bad because I don't know who it is, but I'm really glad that I could help them because like I mean that's one of the things I do. I mean we did it with Iyanah. Every time like if I'm working on an artist and it's the first time they're ever releasing something, I'll run them through the whole process. I'll send them links to my EPK, to the press release, and I'm like, you have these to look back on, and you can ask me questions because it doesn't help if I do it for you. You need to really do it yourself. But who's the person? Goddamn.
go, her name starts with an M.
M. Uh, are people gonna see how bad I am with names?
And they released their debut EP in 2021, January of 2021.
Maya,
So our conversation was an anniversary of that project.
Maya Molo. I'm just guessing.
And and her sound is jazz.
Jazz.
A jazz vocalist. This is easy, or it should be.
Man, just cringe. I'm thinking Nema Kanga, who I should do another song with. Shit. Oh, I know now. Damn. She's not based in Kenya. Is she based in South Africa?
No, she's here. She's here.
Ish man, look, obviously I am failing at this. Oh, Yo, who is
Is
it?
is 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 Sky Up Above familiar?
Is?
No?
No, no, I
Sky Up
didn't hear.
Above. Sky Up Above.
Oh, Michelle Gatuku. No, she has such a beautiful voice and such an amazing work ethic. Um, she is. I think she's releasing again now. She's back. She took a short hiatus, if I'm not wrong.
It's just she released it in 2021, and then through the year and through last year she was completing her medicine degree. So she's supposed to be working on something next year. So that's what she told us in the interview. So yes, Michelle mentioned you.
Now that was actually, I think it was very fun because I think it was the first time I was doing it very hands-on, where she approached me very formally. It was really cool. She was like, I've seen what you've done, so can we try and do that with my song? And I'd love to do that for another one of her releases. I feel like I'm in a much better position to kind of organize things, but she, I would love to hear more work from her because her pen and her voice are something. There's something special, something to listen to.
For sure, for sure. And as you can see, if you're listening to this or hearing to the conversation, people just slide into Rumbi's DMs. Clearly.
Yeah, yeah, man. Hey, man, people just be shooting their shots, man. Hey, go for it, man. Like the worst thing I'll tell you is that I like what you're doing. I just feel like we're not ready to work with. And the way I see it is that just because I'm not ready to work with you doesn't mean I don't know someone who can. So also view it as a thing of like I might know someone who I might know your boy Black if you're Killy Hippie. You know what I mean? I might know your
Mm,
Basic for your Basic
mm.
City.
Your basic city.
Yeah, but let me just
Beautiful,
quickly say thank
beautiful.
you very much for this platform. I think it does a lot to allow artists to connect with the audiences. It's becoming more common, and you guys are also making it common. So for me, it's a really big thing.
Thank you so much, Rumbi. Amesema we are the industry. Sanaa Sana is the
Hey,
industry.
you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you are here as well and you want to check that conversation out with Michelle Gatwick, which should be coming out very, very, very soon as we were commemorating her debut EP. So there is that to look out for. Rumbi, any final words as we conclude this?
Final words. Yeah, I talk too much. Thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you very much for everyone who listens to my music. Stream, lose, pre-save, outplayed, and slide into my DMs. Let's work.
Slide into Rumbi's DMs, and his IG handle is m.rumbi. So check that out and connect with Rumbi. Thank you so much for this conversation. I've had so much fun, and it has been very insightful. Thank you for coming through, and I hope to
Thank you
have
very much.
more. It would be really amazing to have another conversation once it is all done, and we reflect on the entire year and see how that went for you.
It'll be something to look back on. So I'm already noting it down. Look, guys, as soon as we're done, I mean in his DMs, I'm putting down a date.
Thank you to Rumbi. Check out his music. He has a lot of projects. Even before doing what you're doing this year, you already have a catalog of music, a huge catalog. So you can find a lot more from Rumbi on the internet. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank, thank you.
Thank you to Rumbi for joining us for that conversation regarding his new track, his first of the year, titled Lose, which is a collaborative effort with Iyanah and BasicCity, which is his duo with Basicc. And with that being said, thank you for joining us for this. It has been our first interview of 2023 on Instagram. We had another one on Saturday. As I mentioned, if you were part of our live yesterday, I hinted about that interview, about that conversation. Should be coming out soon. And now you've just received an exclusive about whom the artist was. You're welcome. You're welcome. This is what we do at Sanaa and Kwasana, and it has aligned because Rumbi is the artist who Michelle mentioned, and I was to have an interview with Rumbi yesterday, but eventually it has happened. Thank you so much. Check out Rumbi, and also look out for our conversation. Should be coming out very, very soon. There is nothing to lose. Listen to the music and look out for the remaining tracks that he's supposed to release this year. So quickly, let me see who joined. There was Austin earlier, Shukran Sana. There was Mfalane. I could be pronouncing that terribly. There was the Air Child. There was Griffins, the Griffon. There was Tamed. There was Kinuthia Wainaina, who said he is Rumbi's favorite guitarist of all time. Self-proclaimed. There was Brian Kimari. There was Know Your Cause Records. There was Kato Tandiwe. There was Harry Agape. Tunhood came through. Nimona bado ako hapa. Wanjiku _ says was also here. Slim Shaka joined us. There was Savna. There was Vianney KR. There was Nazo _ music. Hazel came through. Jess Jopley was here. There was Naftali Diamante. There was Lance Fro. There was Just Coley. That is JSTT _ Coley. There was Eternal. And there was Wambo Potato, our super fan, our big supporter. There was Kafura who came through. There was Kija. Nimemwona bado ako hapa. Na Kija is still here. And Austin is still here as well. Shukran sana Austin. There was Wangoi, Niaje Joyce. There was Vibe X Taz, Vibes Taz. There was Ivinda. I am assuming nimesoma correctly. And there was Guru Mburu, who was the last one to join this conversation. Shukran sana for watching, and thank you so much for your time.